Hello and welcome back to Courtside. I'm Andrew Cohen, joined alongside by Sam Posman and Mike Randall. How you guys doing?
Doing fantastic.
I've never been better.
Oh, me neither.
You hear they're moving the capital of the country to Boston?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Ben Franklin's on it.
So, it's a celebration day. Celtics sweep
Sweep
the Brooklyn Nets
with brooms.
With brooms.
in
No mops.
in quite convincing fashion, I would say.
I'd say really convincing. Honestly, not even maybe even exceptionally convincing.
Oh. Now I have the Celtics winning the finals in my playoff bracket. Sam had them in what? Celtics in 4?
I had Celtics in 4, but I remained very fearful of a certain Greek man.
Right. And Mike, what did you say about this series? What was your initial prediction?
I didn't get this one right.
No.
I was admittedly a few games over the expected outcome,
Right.
and I may have chosen the wrong franchise.
It's okay, because at least you got your Lakers thing right, so you can kind of.
Yeah. Oh,
Right. So funny.
So it's kind of low hanging fruit.
yeah. That's a shame.
That is a shame.
It is.
That was a shame for the Lakers.
I mean, the Bucks in 5 win is gonna feel really good, but you guys are right. I was
right.
wrong.
Now, I think the most interesting part of the series to me was Kevin Durant just not showing up for games 1 through 3.
Kevin Durant.
And the Celtics just being physical with him, making him uncomfortable, forcing him.
Batman showed him the Batcave.
Batman.
I'm Batman.
In all seriousness, though, did you see the stats? Kevin Durant's stats when guarded by Grant Williams.
Oh, I saw. Yeah.
It was 70 possessions, 30% shooting, only 6 field goal makes, and 5 turnovers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, absolutely put him in a straitjacket.
Maybe he's the real Joker because he can never get past Batman.
Maybe. Not really. No.
That was
The
a
real
good one,
Joker.
Sam.
The real Joker is still in the playoffs.
Barely. He's hanging
Hey.
by a thread.
He won a game.
He did win a game.
He did win a game.
He got you one.
You know who didn't win a game?
Kyrie Irving,
Kyrie Irving.
Kevin Durant,
Kevin Durant.
Bruce Brown,
Bruce Brown.
Steve Nash,
Steve Nash.
Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin
No, to be-
gave it
okay,
his all.
very-
No, so
I
to be
will
fair,
say- yeah.
No, to be fair, like outside of Durant and Kyrie, I thought the entire Nets team actually played really well.
I did too. This was one of those rare situations where
Yeah.
the role players actually stepped up.
Yeah.
And the stars just melted.
Oh my!
I had so much fun watching the Blake Griffin minutes. It was
You know,
one
we-
of those things. It was. I said this to you, Mike. I was like, it's like when your little sister like hits a 3 when you're playing in the driveway. It's like, oh, that was cute.
Yeah,
That was
Right.
but there
good
was
for you.
no at that
That-
point in the game. There was
Even
no
so,
feeling that they
the
could
stat
win.
that's been going around is the Celtics won all 4 games by combined, I think, fewer than 20 points.
Yeah.
Outside of Game 1, it felt like the Celtics were in control of the entire. They didn't.
Game 2 we were down 17 and
I-
it was never
No,
done.
we were talking about this. I'm like, I feel like
worry.
they're going to come back. And Game 3, they came back and they took the lead and never looked back.
Never.
Game 4, they led the entire game.
Yeah.
That's never led. And that to me, like, to think about the Celtics last year, first half of this year, where they would just melt down in the fourth, even like the bubble run, right? Just meltdown in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They were nails in the fourth quarter all series.
Jaylen Brown.
both Jalen and
both
Tatum
Jalen- yeah.
traded games
No,
where
it-
they
it-
closed.
Hey, in the Peyton Pritchard game in Game 2,
Yeah.
those were some big ass shots. The Marcus left-handed floater.
Yep. No, but even like Tatum,
skill.
I think was it maybe 2 games ago. I think it was Game 3. Pretty inefficient from the field. Gets into the fourth quarter, hits 2 or 3 big buckets down
Yeah.
the stretch. That's what you got to do as a superstar player.
And I've said this to you guys 1,000 times, but I just want to get it on record on the air. One of my biggest concerns about Tatum in the past was I felt like he had a little bit of Booker in him, where he was only as good as he was shooting on any given night. Where if he had an inefficient shooting night, like he wasn't really going to contribute much to winning an individual game or something like that. This playoff series, I don't think he shot, I think this last game he was 8 for 13, something like that. But ahead of Game 4, he was not shooting effectively.
I think he shot 42% for the series, which is fine. It's not going to kill you, but it's not spectacular efficiency by any means.
You're watching this guy, and you're like, he's far and away the best player on the court.
Yep.
And he's shooting 42%.
Yeah.
And part of that's because on the defensive end, he played Kevin Durant as well as I've seen anyone play Kevin Durant. And granted,
better than anyone has.
Yeah, no, granted it's the switch everything defense, but it's like Tatum every time he's on him, forcing turnovers. He blocked a shot in back-to-back games.
Yeah, I mean,
his jump shot.
His
not
jump
his
shot. Yeah, his jump shot.
you mentioned the switch everything defense. If I'm Kevin Durant, I'd be happier to admit that I got locked up by Jason Tatum than I did Batman Williams any day of the week.
Yeah.
Respectfully to Batman.
What I was really impressed by with Tatum, especially in Game 1, is everyone struggles at some point in the playoffs. Like, this narrative that stars just aren't allowed to have bad games or stinker series is a bit ridiculous. We can talk a little bit about what that means for Durant. But to struggle for most of the game and then get down to crunch time and not let it affect you at all and still deliver and just on a dime when you need it, hit a couple shots. You could shoot 6 for 17 for the night, but if you were 4 for 15 going in down the stretch and you were unfazed by it and those shots are coming off with confidence and you deliver for your team, that's incredibly impressive for me because I understand that even the greatest players are going to struggle at times, but having that championship medal, that type of come through, get over the hump mentality late is huge. And Tatum did that a lot in that series. Brown was fantastic. Brown, for the first 3 quarters of most of those games, was fine. He played his role, but he wasn't in takeover mode. And it was almost like clockwork in game 3. I think it was game 2 and 3 maybe, or 3 and 4.
All 3 of the games.
He would just start driving to the rim.
But by game 3, you're like, this is what we've come to expect. Like, and Tatum's going to start the fourth off the floor, and Brown's going to take over the scoring load. And he did it, delivered every time.
So one of my big takeaways from that series, that obviously we could have an absolute blast getting into all the indictments against Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving you can take away from this series. But one of the more damning ones for me was these two. We heard it during the series when T-Mac talked with Shannon Sharp on his podcast that they're the most talented basketball duo we've ever seen. And you remember Kyrie's opening press conference with Brooklyn? He talks about, hey, this is the first time that I've been on a team where I can look next to me and say, that MFer can hit this shot too.
Can I just say that was the most disrespectful thing I've ever heard in my entire life?
You played with the greatest player of all time, and he's like, first time.
Played with
semantics, second grade. But anyways.
Anyway, but they do all this fawning over each other about how clutch they are and how great shot makers, and so does the media to an extent. And not that that's necessarily wrong. They're both incredibly skilled, but supposedly they're these great all-time closers, and that's the gene they're supposed to have, right? Kevin Durant, to his credit, has been an all-time great playoff performer. This is a stain for sure, but all the greats have had stains. I don't want to go too harsh onto his legacy. And Kyrie Irving, obviously, in his career, has shown the ability to come through in the clutch time and time again. So you come into this series and you're thinking, at least this is what I'm thinking. When I pick the Nets in 7, I'm thinking, if the role players play well enough, they can keep it close. In the games that are close, Brooklyn's probably going to be able to execute down the stretch because they have 2 guys that can go get their own shot and who are unafraid of taking and making big shots. Now, it was a sweep. And a lot of times when we see a sweep, we're thinking, one team's way better than the other, no chance, yada, yada. All 4 games were a one-possession game deep into the fourth. I think 3 of them, it was the last 2 or 3 minutes, they were a one-possession game. And Tatum and Brown closed every single one. And Kyrie and Durant came up short. Even in the Durant game 4, where the box score looked prettier. Andrew, you talked about it at halftime. You're like, I bet he fades down the stretch again. And that's exactly what happened. So for their supposed strength to be their ability to close late and have the clutch gene or whatever, for them to 4 times in a row come up short in games they could win. There was no game in the series Brooklyn was out of and could not have won. I thought that was impressive for the Celtics, but pretty damning for those 2 in Brooklyn, especially how they built up themselves as a duo.
Not for nothing, but Kyrie hasn't had a clutch moment in half a decade.
He hasn't had a singular successful playoff moment since he left LeBron James.
He's averaging like 21 points in the playoffs since he left LeBron.
Inefficiently.
No, and that's what I think is so impressive about the Celtics was early in the year. It's like, okay, they were 500, but they would crumble in every fourth quarter. Like they just forgot how to play basketball. And that's what makes the sweep even more impressive. Is because they did close out every game in the fourth quarter, whether they went behind or were leading the entire. They closed it out strongly, and that's to me with Kevin Durant. It's not just like, okay, guys have bad shooting nights. It happens. It's you're watching the game. You don't feel he's being that aggressive. He didn't take a single field goal attempt the last, I think, 11 minutes of Game 3. You don't feel like he's being aggressive. You feel like he's being a little loose with the ball. Mm-hmm. He's not driving all the way to the basket. And granted, like Durant can stop and pop from mid-range better than anyone ever has done it in the history of the league.
Sexy.
Right? But you're watching the game and you don't feel like he's being as aggressive as he needs to be as the superstar player on a team that has championship aspirations.
The best way I can phrase it is we watched the game and it looks like someone put him in a time capsule and waited 5 years, brought him out again. Like this is like what I thought he would look like at the end of his Nets contract. And I think what a large part of that is, and I don't want to get too bogged down on the Nets stuff because holy hell do we have an opportunity to be very excited and positive here. So I'll keep it short. But I think that Durant was just tired. Like he came off a hard-ass injury. Steve Nash has no awareness and plays him for 40 minutes for a month leading up to these playoffs and then says, by the way, our offense is just you go do your best.
Yeah.
Like, at one point, when you're 33 years old, you've had 3 serious injuries now at this point in his career. Like, your body's just going to be like, no. We saw Blake Griffin try and dunk. He's the same age. Like,
that, I don't want to discount that as a factor because you're not wrong. But
you're not wrong.
All the greats. Sorry, we're watching the Memphis game live, so we got.
No way, Ant.
Anthony Edwards just buried a game-tying 3 with 4 seconds left in the fourth.
It was like Kawhi's shot, but it required skill.
They were about to blow that game. God. That was incredible. Okay, so what I was getting to with Durant is, I don't want to discount that maybe he's a little fatigued, but I would be much more willing to give him the benefit of the doubt in that sense. If we're talking about a deep conference finals or finals run.
That's valid.
This is the first round, man.
Yeah, that's fair.
You did take 30 games off. You can't tell me you're tired after playing 40 minutes for 12 regular season games and then 4 playoff games. Like, LeBron James repeatedly has just played incredible minutes. I mean,
we're not doing this. We can't just compare everyone to LeBron because LeBron's.
Hold on, it's not just LeBron though. Jordan repeatedly played high minutes and went deep. All the legends of that era,
how about
the older
just
era,
every Warriors
Kobe
team,
did it.
right? The Warriors team and the Cavs team, right? Like outside of just the superstar players, right? Those guys are playing big
minutes deep.
That's fair.
Take Tristan Thompson. Right?
So what I was gonna say is,
but Tristan Thompson doesn't have an entire offensive load on his shoulders.
Okay, but what I was gonna say is, do you remember the 2015 finals with LeBron when Kyrie and Love are hurt? Mm-hmm. They go up 2-1. And in Game 4, he is clearly physically exhausted. Mm-hmm. He averaged 36 in that series. In that game, he had 20. Right? He's clearly cooked. I didn't see the same body language from Durant that I saw from LeBron, or we've watched some old Michael Jordan stuff when you can see he's physically exhausted. Like, I think they just got up under him, made him really uncomfortable, and for the first time in his career, legitimately, he did not have an answer for what the defense was giving to him, and he folded.
Okay. Yeah. I hate to interrupt, but we're currently watching the inbound here.
We're going to get the Sam play-by-play.
Ja.
3 point. Hey, stop. Hey, 3.7 seconds left on the clock. They do it to Ja. They do it to Ja. Do it. That was like Jordan.
What the hell was that final play?
Andrew,
no
you're
way.
a split second ahead of us, aren't you?
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, my God.
That was
Ja Morant.
Somewhere Father Posman is losing his mind.
Ja Morant, game winner with 1 second left.
Oh, he says, call me.
He
says, call me.
Memphis now leads the Wolves 3-2.
We know his number.
Man, Minnesota.
He's a cold man.
Minnesota's, if they lose this series, they're going to have to look back at 2 games they absolutely blew.
Yeah, what's the...
Did they have a timeout?
Oh, Anthony Edwards just got beat. No, they didn't have a timeout.
Did he really?
Yeah, you just got around him.
Yeah.
Oh. You can't make that mistake on the inbound.
Oh, my God.
No. You can't go for the steal on an inbound.
Oh, that is...
Not in that situation. No. It's too much of a gamble.
Mamma mia. Okay. Can I have a few minutes here?
NBA basketball.
On what?
Boston Celtics.
Yeah, We're
not going to get bogged down in players that aren't in the playoffs or disappointing superstars. No. We're going to talk about the teams that matter. And I'm going to go ahead and just take the reins on that if that's okay with the two of you.
Please.
So, if we all remember correctly, Mike, I'd appreciate if you paid attention to this.
I'm listening.
Especially you here. I made a prediction that the Celtics would lose in the next round. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to fully step back on that because I remain very respectful, scared, and rather frightened by Giannis.
Before you launch, I am very concerned with the Celtics as someone who's picking the Bucks and rooting for them. incredibly impressive team in performance against Brooklyn. And I'm going to probably joke around and yell a lot of Bucks in 5.
Mm-hmm.
But that more than likely is going to be one hell of a grueling series.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm with you on this on the Celtics respect.
So, I thought about this when I was in the shower the other day. There's the 7 pillars of Islam. I made the 7 pillars of championship basketball.
Okay.
And I tried not to make them that were, like, specific to the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
Just
I-
in general.
just in
7
general.
things you need to win a title.
I thought about teams in the last few decades. Obviously, there's going to be exceptions to every rule.
I mean, LeBron James is.
Oh, my
Been
God.
one.
No more L words. Okay? He's not here. If he was in the playoffs, we could talk about him.
All right.
The number one thing you need is an A-list superstar.
Yep.
Okay.
We have that.
Yeah.
A certain Jason Tatum.
All right, that's one.
The second pillar is a team identity.
That is a very good one, yes.
Yes.
A third pillar is a good coach, or at least a coach that the players are bought into.
Yep.
A coach that's not going to screw everything up.
With the exception of Mike Budenholzer, but he didn't screw everything up, right? He just kind of raised
Coach Bud?
their
Bud is not a terrible coach.
no, but he's not.
But he's not an elite coach.
No.
Yeah.
But to the point they bought into him.
Yeah.
Number 4, you need a random spark plug off the bench.
Okay.
Everyone,
Okay.
right? When things aren't going in, you need your Seth Curry, your Bruce Brown,
Mm-hmm. Who's that for the Celtics?
Batman, and
Batman?
Pritch,
Pritch.
right?
Derek White count?
Derek White's like a watered down Marcus Smart.
That's true.
Spark plug. You need a will to win. And
Yeah.
I think when Jalen and Ime led the team meeting before the Bucks game at the end of the season and said, we're going to win this game. We're not going to try and lose. I think that's a will to win.
Mm.
Number 6 is a big one. I think you need to have previously had your shit kicked in. LeBron had it in Miami.
You got to get over the hump.
You got to find
Yeah.
a hump.
Okay.
And the Celtics have had a catastrophic last 3 years. It's just been heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak. And the thing is, the core of this team has been through all of it.
Yep.
So they know what it feels like to lose in every round but the finals.
And guess what? They lost to Brooklyn in the first round last year. Just got over that hump.
And the 7th thing, and the most important one, is you need luck. And I think with Middleton hurt, Embiid's thumb is now hurt. He has the same injury that Jalen had last year. I learned that, where Jalen said, screw it, I'm out.
Oh, no, that was a wrist injury.
No, but same ligament.
Oh.
He said it hurts to shoot, rebound.
I don't think you have any problem with the Sixers.
Yeah.
I would not
Fully
consider
healthy
them
Sixers, I would.
They're not a threat.
But even so, like, that whole side of the bracket, Miami, Philly, Atlanta, and Chicago, like, that's weak. That we got lucky with that if we can get past Brooklyn. Milwaukee. Jimmy Butler's now hurt. Another thing that was lucky was the Suns aren't that great anymore. Like, they're kind of being
They're playing without Devin Booker.
I know. And I've never been high on Book, but still, like, we're gonna put Tatum on Booker, and he's gonna be canceled out of the game anyway.
Yeah, I chose the Celtics over the Suns in the finals.
So, the Suns aren't that great, and Rob came back a week early, right?
It was about 4 weeks from the surgery, so it was like the early part of the timeline.
But the things where you bounce the ball and it could go our way, it could not go our way. Everything's bouncing our way.
Yeah.
And I think with the 7 pillars of championship basketball, Boston Celtics could be raising banner number 18 if we can get past Giannis. I think whoever wins this next series wins it all.
The only problem with the luck ones, I think you also have to like look back and then see everything that's happened. Because you can say, oh, Chris Middleton's hurt right now.
Mm-hmm.
But then he comes back in game 3 and you're up 2-0. I mean, I guess it's a little bit of luck, but
If we are up 2-0 to the Bucks and we lose that series, then we shouldn't have been a championship team.
the series doesn't start until the road team wins a game. Celtics have home court advantage. You want to know why?
Because we have a will to win. That's pillar
we have
number
a will
5.
to win, and the Bucks ducked the Brooklyn Nets in their last game of the season.
You know what we did to the Brooklyn Nets?
Sweep.
We did a word that rhymed with ducked.
Sweepy bye.
No FCC violations coming from me.
So can I respond to your championship pillars?
What are your thoughts on them?
So I actually really like them. I
Thank
think
you.
you hit on a lot of their important ones. I would add the team identity is very important, but at least a large part of that team identity, and this does apply to the Celtics very strongly, has to be defensively.
Yeah.
You have to know what your pecking order is on offense,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to have your defensive identity. They certainly have both. And I will go on record now, trying to be as unbiased as I possibly can, that for me, I have them in my top 3 contenders right now going forward. I think them in Milwaukee is more than likely going to be a pretty brutal series, and I like the winner of that to certainly get out of the East. Mm-hmm. Now, I would not discount Phoenix here.
Oh, I'm not.
If they get out of this...
I've written them off.
If they get out of this scare with New Orleans because of the Booker injury, you said you throw Tatum on Booker and he's out, right?
Out, like a light.
I don't... I would hesitate to jump to Tatum being an eraser yet. He did a great job on Durant, there's no doubt about it. But that was an incredible defensive scheme. Mm-hmm. That's what got up under Durant. It was not Tatum individually just clamping him up. It was those late double teams that were coming. Mm-hmm. They showed it a couple times on the broadcast. Durant just moving off ball was taking elbows in the back. Mm-hmm. He's getting shoved. Like, they had a plan for him. Now, the thing with Phoenix is they're not so star dependent, and one of their stars is an orchestrator.
They're
right?
a little
So
like Germany, though.
You're not getting Chris Paul to just start giving you the basketball. Mm-hmm. Celtics are very good defensively. Mm-hmm. Marcus Smart is the type of point guard that could potentially wear him down. But you're not speeding him up, and they're balanced enough with people around the team that can hurt you that I think you can't apply the exact same defensive scheme to Phoenix. I'll give you an example from my own personal experience.
Devin Bricker.
So my senior year in high school, right?
Oh God.
Just listen. We played this team. We played Bangor, and they had 3 all-state, all-conference players. They had 2 wings that are college basketball players, and they had a 6'8" center who was a problem. Okay. The other 2 on their team were at liabilities. They couldn't shoot. We didn't have to worry about them driving. So we ran a triangle and 2, where we had both the Bangor's guards were getting face guarded, and we ran a triangle with one guy starting around the free throw line, 2 guys on the blocks for the big man, and we just wherever he went, he's getting hammered. Against that team, it had the exact same effect Boston just had on the Stars in Brooklyn. We got up underneath them, we made them uncomfortable, they didn't have space to breathe. We played another team the next round, similar situation. They had 2 wings and a big man. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the team is more balanced out. Mm-hmm. So those threes we were giving up in the second round started cashing in the conference finals, and that team ends up beating us in a close game. Mm-hmm. But defensively, we were never able to make them as uncomfortable because they had outlets elsewhere. So the only reason I bring up that example is that I think Boston matches up fine with Phoenix. We matched up fine with the team we ended up dropping to. We could have won that game, and we ended up losing it, right? But the makeup of the team and how they orchestrate themselves is quite different than Brooklyn. And they are the chemistry is much better. Mm-hmm. The coaching is, Ime's not sleepwalking through Monty Williams. No. And Phoenix has a defensive identity. Brooklyn didn't have a shred.
Brooklyn has no identity. Their identity is they have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
So part of the reason why they're able to close every game to an extent is you're putting Seth Curry on Jaylen Brown. Yeah. That's Mikal Bridges in that series, right? Yeah. So
then Tatum's cooking.
I would not. I just don't want the Suns to be written off if they can get through this Booker scare. I think the Bucks, if they can get Middleton mid-series, I think they can probably steal one early.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pick them, and then. Guys, Golden State looks good.
Oh, they do.
They look good.
Yeah.
That's the one team that I chose not to have us play in the finals, just because I wanted us to win.
I think the Celtics would have an easier time, at least like X's and O's wise, with the Warriors and the Suns.
We match up a lot better against the Warriors than we do the Suns, I think.
Like the Celtics, now granted it's regular season.
They've got Cumbucket and Air Wiggins.
No, I granted it's been regular season. The Celtics have played really well year after year, no matter how good the team's actually been against the Warriors.
Yeah, but I wouldn't bank on that. Yeah, you can't bank on that.
I don't know. I just think there's at least a level of confidence there, where it's like we've done it before.
Yeah,
we can do it again.
I think our season turned around when we played the Suns too.
Yeah,
I think this Boston team is chock full of confidence regardless of who they play. I don't think that's a factor. I think, again, defensively, you're not going to be able to deploy. I don't want to try to detract from Boston's defense because I think it's one of the best defenses we've seen in a decade, and they're going to keep that rolling. But you can't expect them to disrupt and distort the other team's best players of the other team's offense as easily.
Yeah.
When you have a true orchestrator of offense like
That's true.
Seth Curry or Chris Paul,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, that's fair.
the Nets have 2 ISO guys. Kyrie has never been a shot creator. Kevin Durant is not comfortable in that role, right? So that changes a lot once you move on, and we'll see once they get to that point. The Heat will be a decent test if they get there because Lowry plays that role for them,
Yep.
and they're a very deep and well-balanced team. So I think I would go Milwaukee, Golden State, Boston as my top 3 with Phoenix if they get healthy, right in the mix. But
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed by. Obviously, you can't not be impressed with what the Celtics did. I would just caution the sense that they were going to be able to wipe out the opposing team's best player with ease the way they seem to against Brooklyn. That's a hard thing to do in the NBA.
I mean, I think a more one-dimensional player like Booker is easier to wipe out than someone like Steph Curry or Giannis is going to bend us over and pour us out like a teapot.
I mean, so I look at the Giannis thing and say, historically, the Celtics play pretty good defense against Giannis to the point where you're going to hold him more than other teams are going to.
I feel so bad for Grant Williams' future kids.
I
They're
think
going
it's
back through YouTube.
to me it's way more of a
Daddy
question.
guarded Giannis?
To me, it's way more of a question of can you stop specifically Chris Middleton? Because I think they're going to go with the game plan of Giannis is going to get his however many points, right?
In the words of Giannis, a 50
we're gonna
piece McChicken.
but we're gonna play as well defensively as any other team is going to against Giannis,
Better.
right? But we'll let him do his thing. Can we stop Middleton from going and dropping 25? Can we stop
if
Holiday
he's
from
hurt.
dropping 20? Well, yeah, if Middleton's hurt, obviously you're gonna stop him from dropping 25.
When
But
we did the Grayson Allen game, I'm going to hate my life. Just going to say it right now. I'm going to be so mad and sad and bad. Okay.
But
any final thoughts, anyone?
one quick thing is a big thing with Middleton being out is more so defensively for Milwaukee, how they handle Tatum and Brown. Because Giannis is not going to defend Tatum all game.
No.
Right? He'll probably do it late in the game.
Yeah.
Right? But he's much more valuable to them when he's floating around the rim as a rim protector.
He may not.
Right? If he's way more valuable to them as a rim protector and defensive rebounder and then outletting for a fast break than he is one-on-one defending Jason Tatum.
They might just say, shoot us out of the gym and you'll win. But
Right.
you're not getting inside.
And the Celtics, that's like the one weakness you could say with the Celtics is shooting. It's inconsistent at best.
It is. Now, it's not bad, bang.
No, it's not bad.
Or
It's
is
more
it unreliable, but
it's more
inconsistent.
outside of their 2-star players. You don't necessarily go like, oh, like Derek White's taking a big 3. Oh boy, like
So
Yeah.
the other thing here that I think is important to think about with the Milwaukee series is the Celtics dominated the interior in that series against the Nets. Not in the old fashioned sense of they're just backing them down and posting up or whatever, because that's not how they run their offense. But Tatum and Brown had a freaking red carpet to the hoop anytime they wanted. That's how they closed.
Yep.
They didn't close with jumpers now. They were closing,
Yep.
attacking the rim. Horford, I think, has a 20-point game in that series.
2015 game 1.
Yeah, has a couple other good series. Claxton was basically played off the court, bringing in Blake Griffin. Right. Not only are the Bucks, not only do they deploy Giannis, but Brook Lopez is a legit stretch 5, so you can play him on offense, and he's a legit rim protector. And the Celtics don't have bigs that he can't be on the floor against. They're going to have to go small to get him off the court, and Giannis can play the 5 in a small ball situation, and then you're in trouble. So I just think that is X's and O's wise and matchup wise, the biggest hurdle for Boston coming up is they're going to probably need to shoot better than they did against Brooklyn to get over Milwaukee.
I think a big thing too is Rob Williams, because that when he got hurt, I was like they might still be able to get to the second round, but if they run into Milwaukee, they're cooked. If he's not on the floor at all now, he's back. Right? I think like that to me is the key, because he is their best defensive center by far, and he's their only. He's really their only true rim protector. Like Horford can do it to an extent. Grant Williams is not a rim protector. Right?
Tice tries.
Right. Tice does his best.
He does.
So what will be interesting with him, and I agree with you,
Yeah.
I think I more meant offensively Boston won't have the access to the rim they were going to have. Now, the Lopez thing becomes interesting. We'll see how it plays out, but if he's guarding Lopez, he can't leave him on the perimeter because he shoots well from 3. That detracts from his ability to play that rim protector role a little bit. And if they go small, Bobby Portis can shoot.
Yep.
So you're probably looking at either Williams matching up with Giannis, which I don't love for him. You're going to probably get him in foul trouble early.
Robert Grant.
I think they're going to attack the Giannis matchup similar. Now, it's a little bit different, obviously, but similar to the way they attack KD, which is
I think so too.
KD gets there in these clips. KD gets the ball. All 5 Celtics defenders are looking at KD.
Yep.
Right? What's he going to do? Who's going to come over to help? Who do I have to adjust to? And I think that's how they're going to do with Giannis once he starts on the drive.
I like Horford as a primary with that defensive game plan to help on him. Now, the difference is Giannis create a little bit more.
Right.
They got other guys around him that I think fit better than in Brooklyn. But I'm excited. I'm honestly excited this because I think your point is a very good one that they have given him problems in the past. And
Shem usually did.
Yeah, I mean, to the extent that I think a team could, I think Boston has the personnel and the coaching to potentially give him problems. So it'll be a big test for Giannis, but it'll also be a big test for the Celtics.
Oh, it's a bigger test for the Celtics because they need to prove themselves.
Andrew, give us a positive Celtics note to end on.
Positive Celtics note.
Gluttonous even.
So Jason Tatum is ascending into top 5 NBA player realm. Like here's what I look at, right? So I'm predicting the Celtics to go all the way. Mm-hmm. The road. You beat Brooklyn. Right?
Kevin Durant.
Which you lost to a year ago in the same round.
A little redemption character.
You get to the second round. Milwaukee. You lost to them 3 years ago.
You beat Giannis.
Conference Finals. You lost in the bubble to Miami. Redemption.
Oh, that was so painful.
And then you get to the finals, and you're going to play a great opponent regardless. The way he played in the Brooklyn series, not just scoring, but Mike was mentioning it before, finding other guys, playing really great defense, setting the tone for the entire team. That's the expectation now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
a curse.
It is. But I think he can deliver. I think the way this team, they've won 30 of 36. They're playing with as much confidence as anybody. Everyone on the team is playing well.
Aunt May would be very proud of Jason Tatum right now.
It's true.
With great power.
It's great responsibility.
I agree, though. If he ends up...
You have to be positive.
I am. If he ends up going... I wanted to do a little Kyrie Irving.
Nope. No K words here.
If he ends up winning the title, and potentially that'll probably come with the Finals MVP, he would have beaten head-to-head Kevin Durant, his position, Giannis Antetokounmpo, another forward, Jimmy Butler, more than likely.
Yep.
He's proven himself as a playoff guy. That's no sleepwalk. And if they beat Phoenix, you're beating Chris Paul and you're beating Devin Booker, no slouch. But legacy-wise, if that's the claim you want to make, that he's making that leap, man, guys, he beat Steph Curry in the NBA Finals. He runs through 3 of the top 5 players in the league in one run.
Yeah.
Right? That's when you can start arguing, has he jumped Kawhi Leonard as the premier two-way guy in the league, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you can start arguing that. I wouldn't go this far yet. I think it's one series, and I think circumstances play a role. But you can make the claim that he's catching Kevin Durant.
Talent-wise, he's up there.
To the same degree that you could argue that Burrow could make the argument against Mahomes. Now, I don't think he's better than him, right? I don't think he will be, but hey, he beat him. He gets to make that claim now. Tatum would get to make I'm right there with Kevin Durant. I looked him in the eyes and I sent his ass home in 4 games.
And I hope to hell that Tatum thinks that right now.
He does.
He does. His body language told you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing is this team just looks and feels different than it has in years. Yeah. The last time I feel like the Celtics team has had this just level of passion and buy-in was Tatum's rookie year.
They're much more talented.
And they're much more talented. Yeah. And so that's why I think Tatum talent-wise is up there. He can take on any of these guys, right? Like there's no, like if you come out of the Milwaukee series and Tatum's the best player on the floor, are you surprised?
No.
Right? Like he has the talent to do it. So, there you go. That's your positive Celtics note. Jason Tatum, top 5 player in the NBA.
Awesome.
Solidified by the end of this championship run.
Do you know how the premier players of each generation become the premier players?
Yeah, they beat the last one.
No, they squash these up-and-comers.
Mm-hmm.
So if Giannis is that guy, if he's our next LeBron, he puts this to bed right now.
I think.
Right now. Yeah. Now, I think even if Tatum wins this series going forward, Giannis probably ends up with more success. But
if there's anyone lead, do it. Hey, no, we pivoted to a negative Celtics take.
Oh my God! Does it have to be?
It's not
basketball.
Fine.
I'll give you one more positive Celtics after this.
I'm putting some context
then we're moving
in this.
Send-off.
Yep.
Right, like early on, Kevin Durant and LeBron James match up in the finals, and LeBron puts it to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a conversation until Kevin Durant comes back and beats him with a vastly superior team. And it takes that for people to even start arguing that Durant's on his level again, right? Mm-hmm. LeBron James, to an extent, gets Steph Curry with even teams and has an all-time epic performance. In the middle of that series, people were arguing Steph was the best player in the world.
You kind of see that when LeBron shoves them. You see their little, like, you're less than me. Remember
Yeah,
that.
but you know what I mean? Like, Jordan took care of any challenge. Remember the Clyde Drexler series?
He had no problem with the glove either.
No problems with the glove.
No, but anytime there was a guy that was potentially a threat to his throne and he got the opportunity to squash it, he did.
Or he retired.
Or he did that. But, so, I think this is fun. There's so many, like, storylines and potentially two of the defining players of the next decade. Of course, Luka will chip in his 3 championships in there too. But
how about he gets to a second round first?
Hey,
then we
out east. This is probably the matchup. The champ of the East for the next decade, more than likely, is going to have to get through Giannis or Tatum. Every year.
Yep.
Maybe both.
Okay. You want more positive Celtics take?
Yeah.
Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart.
Defensive Player of the Year.
Deep boy.
And he's taken quite a leap this year, I think.
I think so.
You watch him play, he doesn't take all those ill-advised shots that he used to.
Christ Jesus. He had 11 assists in Game 4.
Yep. I've always thought he's been really good at finishing in the paint. He's been much better. Or he can change the left hand. The left hand. Stare at the left hand on the way back. Electric.
Mamma mia.
Of course, we can't forget Game 1. Passes up the 3.
Then
passes up the mid-range jumper. Kicks it to Tatum for one of the most electric wins of the year. Maybe the single most electric win.
Outside of the RJ Barrett game.
No, more electric than that. More electric.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So, Marcus Smart Depoy, he is... Are we willing to put him as the 3rd member of a big 3?
No, that's true.
No, not yet. But
he's to Sam's point about the pillars of a title. You have to have role players of a certain makeup. This is your Andre Iguodala.
Ooh, I like that.
Right?
oh, he's more of a Draymond Green.
I like that too.
I put him more on the level of Draymond Green based on his role on the team.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because we can't just replace him the next year.
Right.
They never replaced Iggy though.
No, but
they have now.
You would look around the league and be like, there's like 15 guys that could be Andre Iguodala
I don't
for the
disagree
Warriors.
with you. I think that is probably a better comparison. But to that extent, right, that's the type of player you have to win a title.
And we have him.
You certainly do. You have a few guys. Horford, I think, can play that type of role.
Horford.
Rob plays that type of role in a champion.
Clock block.
Batman.
If you guys get more out of Derek White going forward, this team becomes even more. But that's
Yeah.
important at this point because you're going to need shooting here at some point.
Yes.
You didn't have it against Brooklyn. That was the one thing you kind of got away with
Yeah.
because it was open access to the rim.
Yeah, but we made all of our I feel like we shot pretty well from 3 that series.
I think we did.
We hit him when it mattered.
Oh,
that's
yeah, absolutely.
That's for sure.
Absolutely. No, Derek White, it's so unfortunate because he does everything else just incredibly well in the basketball court. He just can't shoot. So, but Marcus Smart, taking a leap.
Love Marcus.
All right.
Bucks in 5.
Celtics in 6.
I'm scared.
Sticking to it.
Nah.
This is gonna be an all-time series.
Bucks and 7.
Yeah, I'm Bucks in 7. Yeah.
This is realistically Celtics 7. This is an all-time series coming up. Legacy defining. You could argue.
He's 23. Let's chill.
Yeah.
Not legacy defining, but
Legacy making, not
It's
legacy
the
breaking.
start. As you said before, it's the start of what could be a great rivalry for the next decade in the East.
Oh yes.
beginning of a power struggle.
Yeah. Okay. It's time for Sam's send-off by Sam, presented by nobody.
Oh, may I add, for now.
For now.
It's under.
For now.
It's not allowed to talk on it. Negotiations are still ongoing, but there's talk of a.
There's things in the works.
Little hostile takeover.
It's a little tease for you guys.
Actually, it's not very hostile.
Okay. Sam's send-off by Sam.
Formidable.
We're ready.
Oh, you're gonna hate me for this, but it's soccer focused again. But it's like.
I couldn't talk about Kyrie Irving, and you can talk about soccer.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, sorry. Let me
The
adjust
send-off.
All right. So here we go. You all hear me good?
Yeah?
So there are 2 really, really like all-time fun storylines happening right now, and you might actually find interest in this. So the first is, Arsenal's biggest rival is Tottenham.
Yep,
We know this.
Of course we know
The
this.
smallest club in North London. We don't need to get into that. So I've explained this to you guys a few times, but like Champions League is a very big thing. You want to make Champions League. You get a lot of money from it, and the best players they'll only play for clubs really that are in Champions League. So it kind of helps draw like guys out of a contract or wanting to leave. So right now, Arsenal are sitting in 4th in the Premier League with 60 points, and Tottenham's in 5th with 58. So it's the two biggest rivals vying for that 4th spot in the league. Arsenal plays West Ham, which should be a win, Leeds, that should be a win, Newcastle, which should be a win, and Everton, which should be a win, and Tottenham. Tottenham plays Leicester, which will be close, Liverpool, which should be a loss, Burnley, Norwich, and Arsenal. So Arsenal's known to bottle one of those. Let's say Tottenham wins out, loses to Liverpool. We have an Arsenal-Tottenham match to decide who makes Champions League. And that would be, I don't even have words for it. I would be in shambles all day. I don't even know what I'd do. It would be impeccable. It would be impeccable. The scenes would be
The orgasmo.
orgasmo, as they say. Oh my God! But no. Okay, so that's my family listens to this. God,
You said it.
he said it
that's your
first.
phrase.
He said it wrong.
Yeah, you
So
said
I-
it right, which is the problem. That's staying.
Anyway.
That's staying in there.
Speaking of orgasmo,
Oh, we're unedited.
what Bukayo
Unfiltered.
Saka is going to do to Harry Kane will be some back alley mob type. Moving on to storyline number 2. Manchester City and Liverpool, the two best clubs in the world.
Man City.
Man City, look at that. He knows this.
Which one's Ronaldo on?
Man U.
All right.
I'm teaching them. But they're now fighting for two things. So in the Premier League right now, Man City's in 1st with 80 points. Liverpool's in 2nd with 79. And they both just have a cakewalk to the end. So it's going to be who just doesn't F up is going to win the Premier League title. And on top of this, Liverpool's also playing Chelsea on May 14th for the FA Cup. So Liverpool could possibly win the Premier League, the FA Cup, and now the Champions League, which is the treble. And if you win the treble, you're goated. Like when teams win trebles, it's like, oh, that's a top 5 team ever.
Wow.
How many teams have won trebles before?
Maybe like less than 10. A lot of top 5 teams.
Yeah, I was
But,
about to say.
But the way they win the Champions League is super interesting. Because, so Man City played Real Madrid in one of the brackets today. And they won 4-3, and they'll play the second leg or the 2-leg aggregate next week. Liverpool plays Villarreal, who's just, I don't know how they got there.
Mm-hmm.
So Liverpool should win. Man City's beating Madrid, which means the Champions League final is going to be Liverpool versus Manchester City to decide, most likely, if Liverpool gets a treble, if they can beat them in the league. They should beat Chelsea in the FA Cup.
Mm-hmm.
This would be like the Super Bowl met the World Cup and then exploded into every other sporting event. It is like the big. It's what every sports history has been leading up to for 1,000 years.
Now,
since
who are the
Romans
two
and the
teams again?
Greeks.
Sorry.
Okay, that's uncalled for.
Okay, but okay.
But
Now,
this legitimately could be one of the biggest. This will be the biggest moment outside of like World Cup international play for soccer in my lifetime.
So okay.
If a team wins the treble.
If the team wins the treble
So,
the way they do.
When
Okay.
would this be? When would this?
So Premier League is ongoing through the end of May. So I believe May 14th is the FA Cup final. If Liverpool wins the treble, or that would be like the first thing they can really kick off.
Yep.
We're not going to know till the very end. It might come down to the last day of Premier League play to see who wins that. And the way they do it, it's called Championship Sunday. Every single team plays at 10 a.m. So you don't know the results of any other games.
Oh,
That's
that's kind of
nice.
cool.
That's
It's
very
awesome.
nice.
And then, barring Liverpool don't crap themselves against Villarreal, and City are able to hold on against Real Madrid, that game would probably, the Champions League final is usually late May.
Okay.
Oh, so all within like the next month, this comes to a head.
Oh, and all the games are happening at the same time, so these teams are going to be exhausted.
I believe they're called matches.
All these yeah, thank you. So all of this is going to be happening at the same time. These teams are going to be exhausted. And here we have Mo Salah running down the wing. Oh,
Okay.
Which team's
No.
he on?
Liverpool.
So I was going to say,
Oh, yeah,
who are
I knew that. I
who are
knew
you
that.
rooting for if that happens?
So here's the thing. I love Pep Guardiola. He's the manager for Manchester City.
Of course.
He's,
course.
Love
Pep.
Pep.
Yeah, Pep. That's our guy.
There's a legitimate argument to be made that he's probably the second greatest manager of all time.
Behind who?
A certain Sir Alex Ferguson. He was the Manchester United manager for 20 years prior to like
Okay.
2015.
Just wanted to make sure you had the correct take.
Of course, don't worry. Anyone can attest to this. Sir Alex has a fantastic autobiography if you want to get some more knowledge on the subject.
Okay.
So I love Pep, and he was also Arsenal's manager's, like, he was kind of his role model, and he brought him into coaching. So there's some loyalty there. But oh my God, this Liverpool team. Mo Salah I've never had more fun watching soccer besides like the Mesut Ozil years at Arsenal than when I watch Mo Salah just take on like Stoke City, and he cuts in from the right, and you just see him, and he just curls in the top left corner every time, and the goalie just stares, and you hear "You'll never walk alone," and then you just orgasmo, and it's just
Families are listening, Sam.
it's just good. Like there's no other word. It's just pure good. And to see him win everything with Liverpool,
Do you know who's a part owner of Liverpool?
don't say the L word.
LeBron James, baby.
Hey, now that
LeBron
he's involved in something relevant, we can talk about him.
Hey, not for nothing. LeBron James is an owner, about to win the treble.
Hey,
Michael Jordan has an owner.
No troubles.
hey, he's got
No
LaMelo.
troubles.
No troubles.
No troubles. Can't cut it in the plan. So I have one question for you. You said one of these big games is coming down to Liverpool-Chelsea.
Yeah,
Does Chelsea employ one Captain America?
they do.
So they're going to have to beat baby Jesus, baby American Jesus, to win this thing?
The baby Jesus without a manger.
I don't get your hopes up, Sam.
I know
That's
that,
Captain America, man.
and that worries me because of the three things, the FA Cup is the least important. And they're playing a Chelsea team that really had an underwhelming season, both in the Champions League and in the Premier League. So they see the FA Cup as their only opportunity to point to something and
Now-
say we had a season that was good.
Now, counterpoint.
Counterpoint.
The Brooklyn Nets had a terrible, disastrous season.
Disasters.
And they get to the playoffs, and it's like, this is our time.
Ooh.
And then they disappeared for 4 games.
And there was a little bit of a Nets in Chelsea. They just constantly they buy players and bring them in. And City does the same thing, but City's a culture. And City's a style of play. They have a City. You can watch a City game.
Championship medal.
They have championship medal. You can watch a City game without jerseys or prior knowledge and be like, that's a Pep Guardiola managed team. You watch Chelsea.
Yes, the Pep signature.
Yeah. You watch Chelsea play and you're like, oh, this looks like a bunch of talented players that have maybe played pickup with each other a few times. And
Gotcha.
this second coming of baby Jesus, who will rise again on the third
All
day.
I'm hearing is Steve Rogers is going to kick Hydra's ass again, and you're not going to get your trouble.
Now, here's a question. If
Not to hash on the parade here.
if this treble match is at the same time as, I don't know, an NBA playoffs game, what are you choosing to watch?
Oh, you don't have anything to worry about. It's all in Europe, so I'm waking up at like 8 a.m. to watch this stuff.
8 a.m.
Worst case Champions League final.
Hey, Moon Knight episode tomorrow?
Moon Night tomorrow.
Moon Knight's back tomorrow.
Yeah, let's go.
Moon Night mornings. No, but worst case Champions League finals like 3 or 4 p.m. So we should be
Okay.
okay.
Can I give an outside recommendation?
Yeah.
If our dear listeners have not tuned into HBO's Winning Time, but the rise of the Lakers dynasty, I highly encourage you guys to tune in. It's an incredible piece of television, artistry, one might say. Be careful who you watch it with. Treat it as you would treat Wolf of Wall Street were you to view that in a public area.
Game of Thrones even.
Yeah, but
Hey.
absolutely phenomenal television. Jerry West, unbelievable. Jerry Buss, unbelievable.
Magic's a giver.
Magic is a giver. That he is.
His style of play, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
I just the Moon Knight thing had me thinking. I thought I'd
Yeah.
throw a little
Jerry Buss is nursing a lot of things in that show, so it's very interesting to see.
Okay.
Well, I got one more actually.
One more. Go
so
ahead.
you know how the NFL does like Hard Knocks?
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a Premier League version of it, and this past year it's been Arsenal, and it's coming out over the summer.
Is it the All or Nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did that with the Cardinals, Panthers, and Cowboys with Amazon. and then they jumped to soccer because apparently they were done making money. But there's an Arsenal one now?
So it's Arsenal. It's coming out this summer, and it will be beautiful television if we make the top 4 and we in this stretch that I talked about is good. But oh my God, if we don't, and it's just a sad.
So when would the Arsenal Tottenham game be to decide who makes it?
Yeah.
Because Andrew and I need to have our heckling fully prepared.
Yeah.
No, you're good. That's fair. So it's May 12th, 2 games before the FA Cup final.
May 12th.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Up early.
2:45 p.m. So
What colors?
2:45 p.m.
What color's Tottenham?
Shit brown.
So you want to get some face paint or something? Come in with the Tottenham. That's what soccer fans do. Face paint.
Yeah.
Actually, it's
flags.
more of just the shirt off and a pint in your hand.
Oh, okay.
But you have to be fat.
That's too bad.
Yeah,
You guys,
that
you guys should be okay. Only the fat, drunk European guys take the shirts.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that was very informative, Sam.
Thank you. I just want to let you know that 2 really big storylines are happening.
Our soccer fan listening, I'm sure, is very excited.
Shout out Jason Posman.
All right.
So-
Congrats on Ja, just balling tonight. I know.
He did not just ball tonight. He squeaked one in. That was
Yeah.
about his only contribution. That and one hell of a poster dunk. But
Oh, mamma mia.
What was the line that was used in the game? Jaw dropping?
First of all, that is commentary genius.
It is. All right.
That is the pinnacle of audio journalism.
Let's end it off there. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. We'll be back next week. Thank you
Possibly
guys.
with sponsors.
Sam Send Off by Sam, presented by
Nobody.
Bolos.